Hello everyone. So kule video sizoqhubeka ne-trigonometry and siqala i-question paper le-maths paper 2 from November 2011. I-question esizoyenza, it's based on trigonometric functions, which is question 10, right? So la question 10 bathi the graphs of the functions f of x is equals to a tan x and g of x is equals to b cos x for x between 0 and 270 degrees are shown in the diagram below. The point 225 2 lies on the graph of f. The graphs intersect at point P and point Q. So question 1, but it determine the numerical values of A and B. So let us determine those values. Right, so if comfortable number functions, even from amanye types of functions, like maybe a straight line, a parabola, or a hyperbola, functions question wakhona like we're approaching ngendlela efanayo. So you know what a function is, where you sort of like input an x value and then you'll get a y value as your output, right? So now in this question they want us to determine the numerical values of a and b, right? So looking at the graph of f, we have some information where if we input a certain value, like for instance inputting 225 in the graph of f, we'll get a y value of 2. So let us go ahead and do that. So if you say f of 225 sorry, if you say f of 225, you'll get that when x is equals to 225, that y value is 2, right? So when you substitute 225 there, you'll have that it's a times tan of 225 degrees is equals to 2. Right, now to get the value of a, you'll simply divide by tan 225, right? And then in your calculator you'll find that 2 divided by tan 225 is equals to 2. Okay, so this is equals to 2, therefore a is equals to 2. The same applies for b. We need to choose a coordinate from the graph of G, like so that when we input a certain x value, we'll get some y value as our output, right? So now looking at this graph of G, if x is 0, we see what y is 4. So there you'll have that g of 0 degrees is equals to 4. Therefore substituting 0 degrees there, you'll have b cos 0 degrees is equals to 4. We know what the cos of cos 0 is 1, so on the left hand side we'll have b times 1, which is just b is equals to 4. Therefore a is 4, a is 2 and b is 4. Okay, a is 2 and b is 4. That's how you solve. A is 2 and b is 4. A is equals to 2, b is equals to 4. Now moving on to the next question, we go to 10.2. So with 10.2 they say determine the minimum value of g of x plus 2. What is the minimum value of a function? So if you have a function like let's say you have a function and it's a parabola like this, what is the minimum value of this function? The minimum value of this function will be the lowest point of that function. In this case, it will be that turning point. And then the maximum value will be the highest point of that function. In this case, it will be this line here, will represent the maximum value, right? And then if it's a straight line like this, the minimum value will be this point here, and the maximum value will be that point there. So the same applies in this trigonometric function, right? So they want us to determine the minimum value of g of x plus 2. Before you can determine the minimum value of g of x plus 2, what is the minimum value of g of x? G of x is this cosine graph here. The lowest point of that function is here. Can you see? This is the lowest point of this function, and it is -4. This is the lowest point of this function. Therefore, the minimum value of g of x is -4, right? So now to get the minimum value of g of x plus 2, you'll have to shift the minimum value of g of x 2 units up. So when you shift this point 2 units up, you will say 1, 2. So this point will now be here. So it will sort of be there. Now that will be your minimum value. So shifting this minimum value 2 units up, it will take us to -2, right? So now the minimum value of g of x plus 2 is the minimum value of g of x plus 2 is -2, right? That is, you shift the minimum value of g of x by 2 units up. So you'll go from -4, -3 to -2. Okay, and now 10.3. They want us to determine the period of f of x of f of 1 over 2x, right? So f of x is this tan graph here. It's this tan graph here. It has a period of 180 degrees, meaning that the graph will sort of repeat itself after 180 degrees, right? So the period of f of x is 180 degrees. Therefore, the period of f of 1 over 2x is 180 degrees divided by 1 over 2, right? Which is 180 degrees times 2. So the period of f of x is 300, of f of 1 over 2x is 360 degrees, right? Yeah. So the period of the tan graph, the standard function of tan, it will be 180 degrees. Now the period of this one will be 1 over 2. Sorry, it will be 180 degrees divided by 1 over 2. So it's 360 degrees. If you want to determine the period of f of 2x, that will be 180 degrees divided by 2, which will be 90 degrees, right? So yeah, that's how you do it. And then moving on to the next question, let us create space here. Okay, so here they want us to show that if the x coordinate of p is this point here, if the x coordinate of p is theta, they want us to show that the x coordinate of q is 180 degrees minus theta, right? So there you'll see if the x coordinate of p is theta, they want us to show that the x coordinate of q is 180 degrees minus theta, right? So now P and Q are the points of intersections of these two graphs, right? Meaning at these points, these two graphs are equal, right? So at point P and point Q, f of x and g of x are equal, right? Because those are the points of intersection. Now f of x, we know ukuthi it is f of x is 2 tan x and g of x is 4 cos x, right? So now we want to sort of like solve for x in this equation, right? So now dividing both sides by 2, we'll have tan x is equals to 2 cos x, right? And then we know what tan x can be rewritten as sin x over cos x is equals to 2 cos x, right? And then cross multiplying by cos, we'll have sin x is equals to 2 cos squared x, right? And then from this trigonometric identity, which says that sin squared x plus cos squared x is equals to 1, we see that cos squared x is equals to 1 minus sin squared x. So there I'll have sin x is equals to 2 times, from this identity, cos squared x is equals to 1 minus sin squared x. Okay, and then I'll have multiplying out the bracket, I'll have sin x is equals to 2 minus 2 sin squared x. And then writing this in standard form, I will have 2 sin squared x plus sin x minus 2 is equals to 0. So now here I have a quadratic equation, right? So I will use the quadratic formula to solve for sine x. So sine x will be equals to minus b, which is 1, plus of minus the square root of b squared, which is 1 again, minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? So sine x will be equals to, let me substitute this in my calculator, minus 1 plus 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times minus 2 divided by 4. So the first solution is 0.78078, right? And the second solution is sine x is equals to minus 1.28 minus 1.28078, right? So now from this one, if I say sine inverse of minus 1.28078, you'll see there won't be any solution. Try that in your calculator. Say shift sine minus 1.28078. You will see it will give you math error. So here there won't be any solution, right? So now we are left with this one. So x will be the sine inverse of 0.78078. It will be 51.33 degrees. 51.33 degrees, right? So now that is the first solution, right? So we can say that is the first solution, or because there are 2 points of intersections, we have to have 2 values of x, ne? So the first one will be 51.33 degrees. Because it is less than 90 degrees, I take it's this one here, right? And then the second one will be less than 180 degrees. The second one will be less than 180 degrees and between 90 degrees. So from our cast diagram, you'll see we know in the first quadrant all are positive, all the trigonometric ratios are positive. In the second quadrant only sine is positive, here only tan, here only cos, right? And then in the second quadrant, our angle theta will be between 90 degrees and 180 degrees, right? So now if I say 180 minus theta, I will have if I say sine 180 minus theta, I will have sine theta, right? So now in this case, our second solution will be 180 degrees minus this one. So this one we'll say is the x coordinate of P. So this implies that theta is equals to 51.33 degrees. So if I say 180 minus theta, I'll have 180 minus 51.33. I'll get that it's equals to 180 minus 51.33 is equals to 128.67. 128.67 degrees. So that is 128.67 degrees. It lies between 90 and 180. So this is our second solution, right? This one will be 128.67. This one here will be 51.33 degrees. Okay, so yeah, that's how you solve it. I think out of this question, out of question 10, the only tricky question will be the last one, 10.4. So the other ones are fairly simple. If you are still confused, please let me know. Lapo WhatsApp, maybe we'll consider doing a lesson trigonometric functions. Okay, that's it for this video.